And to start out, I want to ask a crowded question. Does anyone know what this is, the FIFA World Cup? Have you all been following it and paying attention? Yeah, and I've been seeing it everywhere as well. Like, it's everywhere. I don't remember in the past soccer being this big of a deal in the U.S. But there's so much hype around it. Like, when I turn on ESPN, I want to see basketball, but all of it's about soccer. And I've never seen that before. It's everywhere on social media. Stories about people fighting other players, things like that. My wife, when she was at work, even told me to DVR the games because she was so interested. And then, whenever soccer comes on, my mom always says, "Oh, this is real football." And I don't know what she's talking about. So there's all this hype going on about the World Cup. And I like soccer to a certain extent. I've played 2 full seasons of soccer. And not professionally, it was like an amateur league. And I played in multiple tournaments. And I really love the competition. Like, I love trying to stop the offensive person from scoring because I play on defense. But there's one problem. And the problem is, in reality, I don't really love soccer. I'm sorry, I have to confess that I don't love soccer. I love football and I love basketball, I love watching it, I love the game, but when it comes down to it, deep down inside, there is no real love for soccer. When I'm watching like the World Cup, I just see them passing the ball back and forth, and I'm not really that excited to watch it. But everyone else is really excited, the sports networks are excited about it, and it got me to thinking, does this happen in our Christian lives as well? Do we sometimes see everyone else excited about Christianity, see everyone else excited about going to church, and then we feel like we should be excited as well, but deep down inside there's not this true love for Christ or for God and for the things of God. Even with soccer, I played it, and even with the things that I did with soccer, I didn't necessarily love the game itself. So that can happen with us with Christianity as well. Maybe we love to speak, or we love to play music, or to sing. And so we do these things because we love aspects of Christianity, but they're not necessarily loving Christianity and loving Jesus Christ and following Him. So let this be an analogy and a parable to you, to be careful that you don't just follow the hype or love certain aspects of Christianity, but forget to truly love Christ and to truly want to follow Christ. Let's turn to Joshua 2:17 through 20. And I'm going to go ahead and read it off of the screen. To give you a little bit of a background, this is a story of the spies going into the Promised Land, into Jericho. And they were almost caught, but Rahab, one of the people who lived there, helped them out and hid them and provided a way for them to escape. So these people, so she believed that the Israelites would overthrow Jericho. And because of her belief, she helped the spies out. But she asked them to protect her, to make sure that her and her family weren't destroyed when Israel overthrew Jericho. And this is the men's response to her. The men said to her, "This oath you have made us swear will not be binding on us unless when we enter the land you have tied the scarlet cord in the window through which you let us down. And unless you have brought your father and mother, your brothers, and all your family into your house. If anyone goes outside your house into the street, his blood will be on his own hands. We will not be responsible. As for anyone who is in the house with you, his blood will be on our head if a hand is laid on him. But if you tell what we are doing, we will be released from the oath you made us swear." So a couple of key things I want to point out from this passage. First of all, the scarlet cord. The scarlet cord is foreshadowing of the blood of Christ. Similar to the blood of Christ, it was through the scarlet cord that the family of Rahab would be protected. So it brought about their salvation. As long as they had the scarlet cord kept outside the window, they were basically identified as people who should be saved. And in the same way, through the blood of Christ, we are saved from sin if we accept the blood of Christ and the sacrifice of Christ. But one thing I want to point out is, specifically in this passage, it says, if anyone goes outside your house into the street, his blood will be on his own head. We will not be responsible. And it's the same way with Christ. Christ has sacrificed his blood on the cross in order to save us from sin. But we have to accept that sacrifice. We have to choose to accept the sacrifice of Christ. So even though God sacrificed himself for us, if we reject him, we won't be saved. So every human being has this choice. They can choose to accept the blood of Christ and be saved, or reject it, and in this scenario, go outside the house, and then their blood is on their own head. It is their responsibility to choose to accept Christ, and that's where salvation comes into play. But I wanted to also point out this last part as well. It says, but if you tell what we are doing, we will be released from the oath you made us swear. So even if the children, or even if her family goes into the house with the scarlet cord, if they do anything to go against their oath in terms of telling the people of Jericho on the spies or betraying them, then they would be released from the oath. So the key thing with this is, even if you accept the label of following Christ, if you don't truly believe in Christ and your actions don't reflect your belief, then it'll lead to your downfall. So even if they went into the house with the scarlet cord, even if they were in there, if they chose to rebel against their oath, then they would still be liable and they still would face death. So the key points from my message today is to first accept the blood of Christ. It doesn't matter how you're related to the people who are in the house, in the case of Rahab. If you're not in the house yourself, then you aren't going to be saved. Each of us has to make a personal decision to follow Christ and to accept his sacrifice. Second, breaking your side of the covenant nullifies the covenant. Now, it may just be a reflection of your initial belief. Maybe you didn't truly believe, and because you didn't believe, it leads to your actions causing you to rebel against the oath. But our actions reflect what our beliefs are. So if we truly believe in God, then we should be living lives that are pleasing to him. And finally, I want to bring y'all back to the problem. Be careful that you don't fall into the same trap that I do with soccer. I might be playing it. I might be, people around me might be really into it. But the problem is, me, myself, deep down inside, I don't have this pure love for the game of soccer. Be careful that you, yourself, don't fall into the trap of not truly loving Christ, not truly having a personal relationship with Christ, and you just come to church because everyone else does it and you want to do it as well, or because there are certain aspects in church that you enjoy, but when it comes down to it, you don't have a loving relationship with Christ. So if you don't have this in your lives today, pray to God to change you on the inside. Pray that God would put inside of you a love for him and for the things of God. Thank you.